Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you. We had a whole week without having any real estate news that I had delivered. There's been so much that's happened in the real estate market in the last week. And I was like, it was killing my soul not to be able to give you a live stream, but I didn't have a guest. And I was like, I can't have people come in on Easter. And then I ended up having a lovely dinner with my family. So I hope you guys had a lovely Easter. I know I did. And this week we would normally have a guest, but Matt Kelderman decided to be a real estate agent and actually show homes today. So he was my scheduled guest, but he's not going to be able to make it. He said he's going to try to arrive a little bit later. So we're going to be running things a little bit different. We're still going to be going through the hottest news stories. I have 3 articles that I want to discuss with everybody. And of course, I'll be taking your real estate questions. And right at the beginning, there was a real estate question that came in from Matt Daniels. And if Eddie, the producer, could throw that up on the screen really quick before we get into the article that I want to read, I want to read this first. Matt Daniels says, I hope you had a nice Louisiana Easter. I did. Question: how will property value be affected by complete or partial flooding? I think Duck Dynasty and the Ducks Unlimited in North Louisiana. Okay. We are so used to having flooding here in Louisiana. Property values, because they flooded, don't necessarily go down. They make them less desirable. But we're so used to it flooding often here and areas becoming flooded that people just say, well, I still want the house. The property is still the same price. They just end up, if they do like rebuild, they end up either putting their house on piers. I've seen houses after the 2016 flood that they literally took them off of the slab foundation and threw them up in the air. And sometimes even the insurance companies, the flood insurance company, they'll require you to raise your house. So it doesn't affect your property value like you would think it would. It just makes it a little bit less desirable for people, especially if the flood insurance is extremely high. So that's a unique situation here to Louisiana. People know you live in Louisiana, you're going to flood. Eddie is the producer. He every once in a while is going to be you might hear his voice like a voice from the gods coming in and saying hello. Coming in. So anyway, if you could put up the first article that we're going to be talking about today, which inspired this whole live stream, and everybody's talking about that there's cracks in the bubble. There's cracks in the housing market. They're starting to see signs that the housing market is cracking. So it says real estate bear market, what to expect from home prices. Right now, the key points say that right now home values are holding strong and steady. If mortgage rates continue to keep rising, home buyers could pull out of the market in a rapid clip. Plunging demand could send home prices in a downward direction, which is something property owners should be prepared for. All right, go ahead and scroll down. It says, are property values about to plummet? You may have heard the term market in the context of buying stocks. During a bear market, stock values fell 20% from the recent high. Some bear markets are short lived, like a bear market hit in 2020 on the heels of the COVID-19 outbreak, while some could last longer, similar to when the housing market crashes. Property values can fall 20% as well or drop suddenly. So it's important to gear up for the possibility, whether you're a regular homeowner or a real estate investor. Are we headed for a real estate bear market? To be clear, right now, we are not in a bear market. Not in the context of stocks and certainly not in the context of real estate. In fact, home prices remain quite elevated and have been for well over a year. I love that house, by the way. That looks like a Louisiana house. In February 2022, the median existing home price rose to $357,000 per the National Association of Realtors. That's a 15% uptick from a year prior. As of writing this, NAR does not have a comparable data for March, but based on market activity, there's no reason to expect major plunge in median home price sales price for the next month. I can tell you for my market, it's been hotter than ever because everybody's freaking out of the interest rates. But while home values may be strong, things could change in the course of the next year for a couple reasons. First, home values are so high on the national level, we're practically unsustainable. I've been saying that forever. Secondly, mortgage rates have been risen sharply over the past few months. So borrowing is more expensive than it has been in years previous. And that's and that's a part of the gradual decline in buyer demand. Okay, so I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in here. Um, at the beginning of before the beginning of the year, they said that home prices weren't expected to go up any more than 6%. That's what they all the experts had said. Then at the end of December, they changed that to 16.7%. And some experts were saying 17.7. Now they're reeling it back again and they're saying 15.4%. The one thing that we can all agree on is the market is unpredictable. And what you see in your area is going to be totally different than what it is on a national level. In our area, you can't find anything to buy. The last time I was shown Eddie, there was only 19 houses in our whole entire county for sale. 19. And if you were under the 200 range, you forget about it. And if it was under 200 range and it wasn't like, why is this house sitting? Well, it was either A, overpriced because the property was garbage. So at least buyers are being a little bit more realistic and saying, well, I know that that house isn't worth it. But even still, there's just not enough houses on the market. And the way that the supply chain is working right now, I do not foresee home prices plummeting. Will they flatten by the end of this year if interest rates continue to go up? I think somebody even said if they go to 8%, yeah, the interest rates, if they go up, it will flatten out home prices. But one of the things that someone else also said is that there's a lot of corporate buyers, like a disgusting amount of corporate buyers that are buying up as many houses, especially in the South. Now, if you live in the Northeast, you may see even more um, reduction in prices because those investors aren't really buying as much as they are in that Sun Belt area. Yeah, Linda Kingston even said this. Corporate buyers here in Tulsa are taking away about $10,000 rebate that Tulsa government has going on. Um, One interesting thing about that that you say rebate, I had somebody telling me here in Louisiana, they are a teacher and we have bond money that is available to teachers for a down payment on houses. Spoke to somebody else and they were able to get what they have Louisiana bond money for another reason. So the fact that they're offering first-time buyers this bond money is a really good thing here in Louisiana because there's a lot of people that need that assistance. Um, all of the stipulations when it comes to bond money is completely different for your area. But whenever you're going to buy your first house, find a local lender, someone that knows your area, and ask them if there's any state bond money when it comes to first-time assistance. Like a lot of states have them and they may only have them for a window of time. So even if they don't have it right then, you can ask them, when it comes back up, let me know so I can qualify for that. And you can fill out all the paperwork being first in line. So if you're on that fence here, Eddie's going to pull up something here. Here, looking for a home here in Louisiana. A teacher next door. It's really difficult for me to read this, Eddie. It's so small. My 50-year-old eyes can't even do it. But basically, it's just saying that this is bond money. Eddie, go ahead.
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, you go ahead. Eddie's going to read it for us today.
A teacher next door, we know the great state of Louisiana. We are able to serve you in every community in the state from Shreveport to New Orleans and everywhere in between. Our mission is to help you achieve your dream of home ownership by guiding you step by step through the home buying process from pre-approval to closing beyond. We will help take advantage of many different resources that are available, including grants, closing costs, and down payment assistance. For our state-of-the-art technology makes the home buying and loan process as easy as fast as possible, all while delivering the personal service. So just different grants up to $6,472.
Right. So it is, and it isn't just unique to Louisiana. Like almost every state has something similar to this. So just so you know, like if you're in this predicament and you have, just see if they have bond money, especially if you're a first time home buyer, check to see if they have bond money. Judy DeWolf says price reduction in higher priced homes, but not 250 or less market. True. Because those investors are buying them. And everybody knows, and I've been saying this, like as I found seeing like a broken record, investors buy real estate to offset inflation, and they're going to be buying a lot more. The Atlanta, Georgia area, at Summits, they had a 25% increase of investor buyers buying up homes around that area. Atlanta's huge too, so it's a huge market for them to suck up. I've always sat on this, what some people consider a conspiracy theory, but I've always said that they're trying to make our younger generations into renters. It helps them keep them in the working machine even longer. And they're even about to raise the retirement age from 65 to 67. I don't know if they've done it yet, but that's what they've been talking about. They want us to work till we die. I'm not laughing. Let me just say I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I'm laughing because it's just so ridiculous. I think if mortgage rates hit 8% by the end of the year, the housing crash is inevitable. It is it a housing crash, but not like the crash that you saw in 2008, 2009, 2010 that continued on for many years. That crash was held up by really, really terrible loans. Those interest only loans or balloon payment loans, interest only loans, that had a window of time where they would pay the interest only for 5 years. And then after that, like fifth year, all of a sudden it became due where it was a big giant payment. Most people couldn't pay it. And what they were told and how they were sold it was, well, it won't matter because in 5 years, the way that home prices are going up, you can refinance at that time and you can bring it down and the interest rates will be down. And people were like, okay. And then not only that, the lenders were terrible in the fact that they weren't vetting the buyers correctly. They were just like, the buyer comes in and says, yeah, I make about $450,000 a year. He's like, do you got a phone bill? He's like, yeah. And that's how they were approving people for these houses. Anybody could get a house. There are people that are buying like 2 or 3 houses. So stupid. So stupid. They got in over their heads. And then of course, the housing market failed. But this is the most interesting thing that most people don't know. So you remember the banks were too big to fail, right? So they got all this bailout money. But do you know what those same banks did? They just rebought those foreclosed homes and held them. And then resold them to other investment firms. They packaged them up to places like BlackRock and Blackstone, mostly Blackstone. They packaged up those bad foreclosed homes. They packaged them up and said, "Here you go. You want to do something with them?" And they were like, "Yeah, we're going to turn those into rentals." And that's exactly what they did. And they got money, and they got money to do it. So gross. I mean, I don't. Sometimes when I find out stuff and I hear about stuff, I'm like, why are they too big to fail? And I know why they're too big to fail, but it's just like they get away with murder and it just makes me mad, so mad, so mad. Oh, we can't have a housing crash without a matching economic crash. Well, there's signs that saying that there's going to be an economic crash as well, Very good point. But Eddie, pull up that one article. I don't know which one it was. They were talking about how that basically, if there's an economic crash, the one thing that's going to save it is the fact that the housing market is so solid. That was in this one of the articles that we're going to put in, and what, and it has. You also have to. Crow Homestead said something really smart, which is, what is your definition of crash? To me, a crash is what it looked like last time, like where the prices went up so high, $10,000 every single week. And then the next week, it was going down $10,000 and it was going down $30,000. Matter of fact, when Eddie and I sold our house in Florida, we were in it right before when it was started. We had listed our house for 250,000. Our real estate agent said, you could list it for 275. I said, I want to sell it. I don't want to sit on it. And she was like, okay. And I put it up for 250. We had showings, but not like, like where people were lined out the door like 3 weeks earlier. And then we still reduced it. We ended up selling it for, I think, 235 or 245 or something like that. So, I don't think it's going to look like that because there isn't that same kind of money in the market. People are buying homes cash heavy. And when they're going over that amount, even though they're qualified for a loan for, let's just say 250,000, they know that the house is going to sell for a lot more, they're taking out a good 30, 40, 50,000 of their own money and putting it back into the house to purchase it. They're just buying it cash. There's so much cash. Not only that, the buyers that are qualified to purchase a house now are under the most scrutinous qualifications that they've ever had in history. The banks aren't going to be holding the bag like they did the last time. So I think they're afraid that they won't get the money that they did the last time, the bailout money. So, anyways, Eddie says, Fannie Mae, a recession is likely in 2023, but the hot housing market should be the cushion, the blow. See, this is the article. Thank you. Eddie's going to pull this up. Da-da-da. Inflation hitting customers hard with prices rising faster in 4 decades. Both the Federal Reserve and the White House made countering runaway inflation by the top of their economic priority by steadying rising interest rates, but it seems the degree of economic decline within the next 2 years is all but inevitable. Inevitable. There we go. The biggest fears are that the contraction in 2023 might match up of the Great Recession, but it's not 2008. There are crucial economic metric that could prove that to be the difference between a severe recession and a moderate one, and it's the red hot U.S. housing market. In the latest economic housing outlook, the mortgage giant Fannie Mae concedes that the soft landing for the economy, wherein inflation dissipates without forcing a significant decline in the economic activity, is now doubtful. But because of the housing markets, a modest recession will be likely in the cards for the latter half of 2023. So, demand for homes will likely continue to outpace in the near future, while being driven by the factor in keeping prices and economic activity throughout the 2023, according to the company. Home prices are expected to keep rising for the foreseeable future, albeit a slower rate than they have in recent past, due to mortgage rates and tempered demand. The mortgage rates has ratcheted up dramatically over the past few months. Duncan, Senior Vice President and Chief Economist for Fannie Mae, said in a press release, consequently, we expect home sales, home prices, and mortgage volumes to cool over the next 2 years. And I've been saying that. Like, this is the one thing that I always kind of laugh about now. I was kind of saying that by the end of this year, we're going to be at 5%. And then people that were on my panel, that live stream, were like, no, they're not going to go up that high. I think maybe 4%, maybe, but not 5. And I was like, all right, well, I'll be conservative and say 4.75. And here we are. We're at 5.31 right now, or 3.7. I mean, I don't know. How high do you think it's going to go? I'm going to ask the chat. How high do you think the mortgage rates are going to be by the end of the year? And I did put a poll at the top too. Make sure you do with that poll, because I'm interested to see how many are seeing a price reductions in your area. Because I get those comments all the time, and they're like, "Yeah, I saw a house go down $50,000 in my area." I'm like, "Where do you live?" And they never respond. They never respond. Lawnmower thinks that the interest rates are going to be at 20%. I don't think we've ever hit 20%. I think it was 18.7 in the 70s. I could be wrong about that. Eddie, you may want to do your little hand. Let's see. We got 8.79, 20%, 6.25, 6.57, 6.5, 6.57-ish. I'm kind of leaning towards that 6.57-ish. I think you're right. Plus 2 from today. So that'd be about 7%. 7.75, 8%, 7. 21% in 1981. Wow. I did not know that. I thought it was 18.7. I could be 100% wrong about that. Jason Walter. Hey, Jason Walter, my guest didn't show up. If you're bored and you want to jump on here, we could talk real estate stuff. You're more than welcome to come on here. Jason Walter is one of my favorite people to have on the stream. He's a real estate agent. He has a YouTube channel as well. He always is doing the the up reports here. CC Moon with the 4.99 super chat says, I got aluminum seamless rain gutters. Congratulations. Installed last week. Does that increase my home value? HOA approved them. I have the letter. Does it increase your home value? No. But does it increase your sellability? Yes. People love to see that they're on there, but it add as much more to your appraisal. If anything, maybe a few $100, but not what you put into it. It does make your house more sellable. So if you have the identical house next door, your house will more likely sell quicker because you do have that, the rain gutters. It's kind of like one of those things that like people were like, well, I'm going to replace my countertops in my kitchen to granite countertops. And I'm like, okay. They're like, yeah, because it will increase the value of my house. I'm like, hold up. If you did a full remodel of your kitchen, yes. But if you're just going to replace the countertops, it's not going to really add as much as you think. Just because you put $10,000 countertops in your kitchen, that doesn't mean you're getting $10,000 back in your, value according to their appraisal. So, yeah, it just makes it more sellable. Eddie's got something for me here. Here we go. Interest rates reached their highest point in modern history in 1981 when the annual average was 16.63. Oh, I was even off. I said 18.7. I was wrong. According to Freddie Mac. So 1981, I thought it was in the 70s. Yeah, no, 16.63. That's interesting. Well, we all learned something new today. We all learned something new today. I'm gonna Jason Walter, I'm gonna go ahead and send you the link to this. You're more than welcome to come on. If you can't come on, I understand. Let me just throw this over to him really quick. Da, 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 da. Forgive my pause. I'm so mad at Matt Kelderman. I love him to death, but what's the matter?
It's all right to pause every so often. I did see a question here, and do you mind me reading it while you
go ahead? Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So the question: do you think Disney might pull out of Florida and go somewhere like Georgia or Louisiana?
Okay, this is so interesting. So I was just talking about this. I'm just going to send this to him on the old, because Eddie and I were just talking about this.
You want me to give you my take on it?
Well, you can put your take, and I'm going to. This is Eddie's non-professional. Don't take this as
non-professional
legal advice. Yes,
my
go
professional
ahead.
Non-professional. So my professional non-professional would be that they will not pull out of somewhere like Florida, pull out of Florida and go to somewhere like Georgia or Louisiana. As a matter of fact, a long time ago, they had looked at putting a small park in Louisiana, and we're trying to buy some land for it. Never worked out. Yes, North Shore area. So with that being said, I don't think that they'll pull out, but I think it's going to cost taxpayers a whole lot of money. And that's where this comes down to. I think it's 2023. If they pull the special, when they pull all that, I think it was set for 2023. So then at that point in time, it will cost taxpayers in Orange County and Osceola.
Right. So Eddie and I were looking at this, like I said, right before the stream. And they cannot, if you're homesteaded, if you have a homestead, it's only can go up 3% a year. But as you know, Florida is a hot spot for travel. And a lot of people have investment properties there, or it's their second home. So they wouldn't be able to file homestead. On those homes, they can increase their property taxes by 10% each year. So, I mean, that on the surface for a little while will be fine. But after the long term, when people are like, this is too much, that could really cause problems for property taxes. It can cause a lot of problems for travel. I don't necessarily think that was the wisest decision. I think there's a lot of people that are like, I'm taking my toys and going home. Sorry, my cat. That's Marcel. He's throwing his 2 cents in. I'm so sorry about that. Now he's hiding behind the camera. I hope everybody can still hear me. I said Florida taxpayers could face $1 billion Disney debt bomb if it is special district tax is revoked. I I think this is a recipe for disaster. A repeal of the Disney self-governed status in Florida could leave taxpayers with more than 1 billion in bond debt, according to the tax officials and legislators. The Florida House of Representatives on Thursday passed a bill that would dissolve Disney's special improvement district, escalating Governor DeSantis's attack on the company over opposition of the Florida's Parents' Rights in Education bill, dubbed the "Don't Say." But all right. And the Senate passed the bill Wednesday after the first was introduced Tuesday, and now we'll go to the governor's desk for the signature. Didn't he already sign it? He signed it already, I thought. Disney's Reedy Creek Improvement District was created in 1967 and gives Walt Disney Company full regulatory control over Disney World, as well as governmental services, fire protection, emergency services, water, utilities, sewage, and infrastructure. So here's the other thing. So Disney's had their own fire department. That means that taxpayers are now going to have to create a whole new fire department unless Disney sells them their fire department. The state doesn't get it because they don't want it, like because they just decided. I mean, that's still those properties belong to Disney. So they don't have to give them their fire department. They don't have to give them any of their infrastructure that Disney has created because of those special tax assessments. So now that's even going to cost even more. I think this is a terrible, terrible idea. I get why it happened. I get it. I get it why, you get two people that are, like, I'm going to take my toys. No, I'm going to take my toys. And then, then it becomes a recipe for disaster. And that's where they're at. I feel really bad for the people that live around that and will have to deal with the consequences. Because I mean, I don't know how you are with government, but like anytime that you have government that has to uh, add a fire department or add some more police or whatever, they're slow moving on everything. I mean, there was a high school that was supposed to be built when Eddie and I moved here, and they just now like are scraping the ground. And my kids are about to graduate high school. So, I mean, I think it's I think it's bad. You know, only the people are going to suffer from it. Not these politicians, not Disney. Nobody else is going to suffer from it except for the people that are living in this situation. I just think it's bad. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them up in the chat. Eddie has one here that came up. It says, question, would it make sense to do an ARM mortgage now that interest rates are so high? No. The only, okay, this is, I should say, if it's for your personal residence, no. The only time I say an ARM is fine is if you are an investor and you have multiple properties and you know that these are income producing properties, that you're going to be taking that income and moving it towards the mortgage and other things. And yes, I mean, Eddie and I have had rental properties and we've done that and it's worked out just fine. At this moment, at this time, it may not be the best idea for you. You may want to you're going to want to talk to your financial advisor when it comes to this. This is not financial advice. I would not do it on your personal residence. Not ever. Not ever. Oh, look, with $5 super chat. All right. Dom says, y'all, thanks for doing these streams. Did you see where HOAs are changing the rules for rental houses? How many times have I been saying that in my videos? This is the thing. I think people have been watching my videos because this is what I've been telling people. They should be doing this. They should be changing the rules in your associations. If you are on a board, it doesn't matter how old your homeowners association is, you should not allow for X amount of rental properties in a subdivision. Some of the brand new subdivisions already had that rule in there, but a lot of the older ones don't. They just don't have it. So all you have to do is get your board together and have a conversation and tell them how this is very disruptive towards your home values to have a bunch of rentals in your neighborhood. This isn't a good thing for the neighborhood overall. And then you guys vote on it. And that way you can restrict how many you can have. That you can make that a percentage, like only 10% of the houses or 20% of the houses, can be rentals in the neighborhood. We have a few in this neighborhood. I think we probably have 5 houses that are probably rentals, which isn't that big of a deal, but I can point them out to you. I could drive around my neighborhood. And I wouldn't even have to tell you. I would say, just pick out the rental houses. And you would just have to look out your window and go, that one? Yep, that's it. That's the one. There, yep, there's the other one. You're right. Rental. I mean, I get that people have to rent houses. There's no doubt about it. But inevitably, they don't take care of a property like a person that owns the property. Because I mean, there's no investment for them, and I understand that. We've had one renter that was really cool because they were in the lawn business, and they were out of flower beds. They were like, "Can we dig these up these trees here?" I'm like, "Have at it. I don't care. Do it. Do it." I've seen rental properties drop here in Atlanta. Well, that's good because rental prices here are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Rental prices in Tampa, ridiculous. I had somebody in Austin, Texas. They got kicked out. Their lease was up. They're like, okay, you have a choice. You either can pay $400 more than you paid last year. $400 pay more last year, or you can move out. And they have nowhere to go because even at the $400 increase, there's nothing else in the area that was even that cheap. So they were like, I'm gonna have to get a second job just so I can pay rent. That that's not good. That's not scary, and it's not sustainable. And that's what makes me so upset about all these corporations buying up so many houses and turning them into rentals because there's nothing that's stopping them from basically making everybody like pricing them out. And then people say, well, they could just price them out to the point where people won't rent them. Well, they'll make it just that much where they are like they're not moving out, but they're not getting ahead either. They're like, okay, the average income is about this is how much we can rent it for. We'll just make it $100 less than that. So they're basically just surviving. And they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. I mean, let me put on my tinfoil hat. I had one on earlier because I'm doing a video about the Great Reset, and I haven't read any of the books. I haven't like, how everybody has their own spin on the Great Reset. I have not read anybody else's version of the Great Reset. I took it straight from the World Economic Forum. I've listened to everything, and I am forming my own opinions about it. So you can watch it. You can watch that on Tuesday. Question: would it make sense to do an ARM mortgage? I already did that one, Eddie. You already put that one up there. You hear Eddie in the background. Sorry, sorry. Eddie's coming up with another question. He's gonna put it out there in just a second. I want to know, like, while we're waiting for Eddie, do you like this format without a guest, where it's just me? I always feel like I hate being the center of attention. That's a lie, but I mean, but I mean, if you like it better with a guest, I want to know. Do you like it better with just me or with a guest? Say with guest or just you. I want to read those comments and let me know because it helps me understand. Because if you do like it with just me, maybe like once a month I'll do it like a one-on-one thing. Debbie says we're just fine with just you. But she might have some inside scoop on that because she's a moderator, so she might be Hoover. Yeah, with a guest. I'm kind of with you on a guest with a guest. It is with a guest. I like both. Oh, this kid. Hey, he had the best screen name ever. Because he's like, this kid, this kid. Every time I see that's what I think. Some people say just you. Maybe I'll do it just once a month. Once a month, I'll do that. Why are arms still allowed? Did they change the terms or restructure them? Okay, so the ability to get an arm is much more stringent than it was in years past. Because, like I said earlier in the stream, in order to have an arm, you had to show a phone bill and call it a day. But today, you have to have very good credit. You have to show if you're doing it for a business, you have to show like a business plan and everything else. And there's a lot more to it. I mean, when Eddie and I had refinanced those rental houses, it was constant, like another pay stub, another check, another copy of the bank statements. It was ridiculous. We had to verify, like, why was this $37 taken out of the account? I'm like, who cares about the $37? There's still plenty of money in there. And they're like, had to verify everything. So the ability to get it is a lot more difficult. That's the one thing that changed, but the product has always been available. It will continue to be available because it's if used right and used properly, it's still a good product. It was just used and abused in the wrong way, and it ruined the housing market. So Sarah Mason says it's actually my name. I know over 10 people who lost their homes due to refinance arms. See? And, years ago, I remember a neighbor, when my parents were growing up, they had when he had an arm would be considered like a balloon payment, and he was like, "My balloon payment's due, and I don't know what to do." And he was selling his boat and everything else because he had a balloon payment, and I remember hearing that very young, and I was like, "Whoa, I'll never do that, a balloon payment. Sounds pretty, but it" I was thinking, "A balloon? Why do they call it a balloon payment?" Well, who knows what happens when that thing pops. It's catastrophe. Yeah. This is a good comment. This is true. You're great at bouncing off ideas off your guests and having a great conversation on the topic going. Yeah, and that's what I miss. Yeah, I kinda miss that. Not that I can't talk. I talk to myself all day long. I am I have the best conversations with myself, and I always win the arguments I have too. So I like both formats. It's be flexible. All right. You just let me know whenever like you're just kind of tired of guests and you just want to see me, and then I'll do it. I was gonna do it this way last week for Easter, but you know, anyways. Uh, Peter says guests provide local insights very valuable. They are. Um, if there's any thing you want me to look up specifically about anything you've seen in the housing market, let me know. What is that mug? I need one. I need that big too. Okay, Eddie, do me a favor, go on Amazon. This is a real thing. Go on Amazon and pull up those mugs and then put a link in the comment section. I get them from Amazon and Lawnmower always says it's not that the cup's that big, I'm just that small, but no, really it is. It's a very large mug. And I'm a hot tea drinker. I like hot black tea, and it I put 2 tea bags in there, and then I that's the only thing I drink. We have 420 people on the stream right now. Make sure you smash the like button. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this question while you're pulling up that thing on Amazon really quick. Eddie, question. Mary Moore says, why would my apartment complex set aside units for just Airbnbs? Some residents are going non-renewal notices so they can make it an Airbnb for 150 a night. I'm in Woodstock, Georgia. Well, the apartment complex would set aside those for Airbnbs because they'd make more money. Um, Atlanta is a traveled to spot. I know Woodstock, Georgia. I used to live in Roswell, and they're looking at it as a cash cow money. Um, $150 a night if you book that. I mean, I don't know how much your rent is. That's just going to make them a lot more money. Um, I didn't know that apartment complexes were actually doing this. I knew that residentials were. In my area and outside of, New Orleans, like, you can't do it. There no apartment complex can do it. They had started all these buildings for condos that were just being built for Airbnbs, and the hotel industry went, "Nope, nope, not gonna happen, not gonna happen." But, I can see that. I can see why they do it. It stinks for the people that are living there, though. My God. I mean, I hope they can find somewhere else to move to if they got a non-renewal notice. I hope they don't turn the whole thing to an Airbnb. I mean, I understand why they would do it, but I don't like that. Christina doesn't like that. I think there's another super chat that came in here, Eddie. Eddie's gonna put it back up on the screen. I hear him screaming in the background. Here we go. All right. Oh, there's the mugs. There's the mugs. That's them, right? 28 ounces, super large white coffee mug. I tried to get some that were branded with my stuff on it, but I mean, who wants that? That's not a mug, it's a bucket. I'm gonna pull up this super chat, Eddie, while it says 40-year fixed rate mortgage. Can it pass with effect? What effects will it have on the market? Okay, this is a great question. Great question. Okay, so they have tried this 40. I'm gonna leave this up. They have tried the 40-year mortgage before. The thing is if you look at the amortization chart, the amount you save per month because you went that extra 10 years isn't that much. It's really nothing. And so you've added an additional 10 years to your mortgage for just a little bit of reduction in your payment. You would think it'd be a lot more than that, but it's really not that significant. I guess for the right kind of home buyer, that might work, 40, 50-year mortgages, but I can't see, because every time they've tried it, it's been a big wah, 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 wah. Not a good not a good thing. It's never worked out. Um, yeah, I don't think it will have any effect on the market. I personally wouldn't want a 40-year mortgage because most people don't stay in a house but 7 to 10 years. And if you had a 40-year mortgage, all you did with that house payment was pay very little to the principal and you're paying nothing but interest those first few years. So, I mean, you're basically had a house that you if hopefully if the housing market has gone up or at least remained flat, you've only taken a very little bit off of the actual price of the house, so you might actually be walking away even Steven, only living in the house 7 years if you're lucky. You may actually have, with all the fees and everything, actually have to come out of pocket after living in that house if you had a 40-year mortgage. Just something to think about. Something to think about. When do you think rates will ever be back to 3%? Perhaps in a few years if inflation is under control? Oh, if I had a crystal ball. Oh my God. Honest to God, after the last housing bubble, I was like, oh, we're never going to see interest rates as low as they were. And then we saw them lower than we ever had seen them. 3% though, I don't know. I think we'd have to have a roaring economy for that to come back. Um, the investors in the game would have to pull the strings and allow that to happen. Uh, if they want cheap money and they're looking for cheap loans, we'll see what Wall Street says. There's just no way to know. I don't know if 3%. Yeah, I think we could see 3% when. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think it's impossible to see 3% again. I just don't know when. I just don't know when. Eddie, if you could pull up the next question, please. Did we go over all the articles? Wasn't there one more article that I had? Okay, question. I already did that question, Eddie. That's what happens to me. I pulled up questions and he didn't know. Poor Eddie. I feel bad for him. He's doing really good though. It is a bucket. Or I'm just really small. Mm. I used to give away these mugs. I don't know if you guys ever seen these. They were your real estate whisperer mugs. And my clients have gotten them before. It's a gumbo cup. It's a gumbo cup, but you can use that for tea too. It makes it get cold really fast. So I just use it to hold my sunglasses. All right. So question. I would like to invite you to Orlando Miner back. Oh, okay. Yeah. Orlando Miner. They're more than welcome to come back. All they have to do is email me. I'm pretty open. I'm not picky, unless I have to know who you are. I have to know that you're a real estate agent. I have to know that you sell, and I have to know that you can talk on camera. And those are my requirements. So if you guys have a real estate agent that wants to come on, just have them email and I'll talk to them and see if they're appropriate. Montana is a hot investment market. Yes, I had Will Friederman on, and he's in Montana. He's living in Montana. I think it's his channel. He has like his market has gone crazy in a way that he never anticipated. And one of the problems that he has in the area that he lives is that because of affordable housing, there isn't any. All the people that run in those those vacation spots, they can't find any workers, and they're like, help wanted, nobody wants to work, come and work here. It's not that they don't want to work. They'd love to work there. There's no place for them to live. There's no place for them to live. So they're like, so now they're trying to come up with some solutions to the problem here. Hey, Sir Ashley, I have my guest didn't show up. If you're more than welcome to come on the stream if you want to, I can send you a link. Here, I'll just copy this. Are you on Facebook, Sir Ashley? Are we friends on? He's probably not even on. Sir Ashley. You guys love him. I love him. He's one of the best YouTubers in South Carolina, North Carolina. I always get those messed up. Question: when is your old co-host visiting again? I miss her. Yeah, so I just heard back from her. She is in back in Pennsylvania. They had like a little nor'easter that came through. She misses us. She misses Louisiana cuisine. So I can't get this thing to copy. I'm really stuck at this. All right, just run a solo, Eddie says. Okay, here we go. Where's the next question, Eddie? Put it up, because nothing's worse than dead air. Nobody wants to hear a dead air. Oh, here we go. Our rent is going from $878 to $979. That's a 13.5% uptick if we take the 14-month lease. In Austin, Texas, their rents went up 35%. 35% in 1 year. In 1 year. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm so sorry. Like, and you know what's even crazier is Eddie and I have a rental house. We love the renters that live in that rental house so much that there were two friends that were renting. The one friend had to move out. And they were like, well, we're going to have to move out too because we can't afford the rent. And we were like, well, you're really good renters. So we'll just keep it at this price, so you won't move out because I don't want to have to find new renters. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. We could rent that thing for a lot more money, but I don't know. I just rather have a good renter than make a bunch of money. Serenity Cow says, question, what do you think corporate investors will run out of cash? What are their what is their Achilles heel? Is there cash actual cash or loans? They have cheap loans. They get cheap money, cheap loans. They always have. They have corporation tax breaks to do this. So they have cheap money, they get cheap loans. They've always done it with loans. They may buy it with cash. They may buy it on paper on cash. Then they take out a loan and bundle all those houses together at one time. They do some sneaky stuff just to get around all that stuff. But yeah, they do purchase them cash, but then later on turn around and make it into a loan of some sort. Go ahead, Eddie.
I would say their Achilles heel, if I'm correct.
I can't hear you. Maybe my thing's not working.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on. Eddie, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay. I would say their Achilles heel would be renters.
Can anybody hear me?
Can everybody hear me?
Let me look at maybe it's my audio. No, can you my audio is fine. I think it's your audio, Eddie. I don't think it's working. Eddie says he thinks it's an Achilles heel. I heard him say that in the background, but they can hear you. I just can't. Yeah, they can hear you fine. It's just me. Go ahead, Eddie.
I said I think their Achilles heel would be no renters. Like if people stop renting their buildings, that would be their Achilles heel. They'd have to sell off as fast.
Right. So, but here's the thing though, if they can't if there's no place for them to go, right? And there's no places for them to buy because most people will say, well, the rent's too high. I'll just go ahead and buy a house. But there's no houses to rent. Then you have no choice and you're stuck. Eventually, though, and you've seen this before, they'll end up having to reduce the pricing of their apartments. Some competitor will come along and they're going to be like, all right, those apartments across the street are, $2,000. Well, we're going to make ours $1,800, and then it becomes a competition war because then all of a sudden they have all these vacancies. And hopefully that happens soon because rent is just stupid high. And if you look at any charts from the National Association of Realtors, they've never seen it in history, rents going up as high as they have had in the last year. It was even beyond what they had expected. So actually, Eddie was your guest today. He is my guest with this. Do you like his little avatar he did? Question, is Nashville market untapped? Will it be the next Atlanta? Oh, no, Nashville has always been, very expensive. They've always had a hot housing market. Even in the lowest of housing markets, they might have seen price reductions, but houses didn't sit vacant. Um, oh, and that's another thing. I'm so glad I reminded myself of this. So people were saying, I've been noticing more and more vacant properties across the United States. Like there are over 5 million houses. There isn't a housing shortage. There's over 5 million houses that are just sitting vacant. And it makes it seem like they're vacant and dilapidated but there's more to being vacant than just being empty. A lot of people have second homes, so that will be considered a vacant home when they're not living in it, right? There's other people that have had property that, like, their parents owned, they've passed away, and they're holding on to the property for a family member in the future, so that would be considered vacant land. There's some people that own more than 1 house, 2 houses, or even 3 houses, so those are considered vacant properties. And then one more thing, some corporate investors will buy properties and keep them off to the side, leaving them vacant for when they decide they wanna sell them at the highest price. So, even though you may see or even read articles, oh, there's over, 7 million houses that are vacant through the United States. We don't have a housing shortage. That isn't the whole story. The story is that yes, there are vacant homes, but that isn't going to what causes a housing crash by any means. Most people have them as vacation homes. So just FYI. Go ahead. Nashville housing market continues to rise. Thank you, Eddie, for pulling this up. Nashville, Tennessee is no secret to the housing market is on fire right now, especially Nashville. But numbers from the Greater Nashville Realtors groups show how crazy it is. In February of last year, the median price of a house is Greater Nashville area was about $357,000, which is the national median price in all of the United States, which included the surrounding counties of Sumner, Robinson, and Rutherford. 1 year later, that price shot up to $446,000. So that's $100,000 over the national average, median average. I'm sorry, median. Eddie, you're gonna have to scroll up a little bit because I can't see above my head. Incredibly, that's up $89,000 in 1 year. You gotta scroll up a little bit. I can't see. Yeah, just a little bit. I just want to see that chart. Nobody wants to see my noggin anyway. The chart right there. It says, okay, so housing market still going up. February 2021, it was 157,000. Average days on the market though, 29 days. So that's from the time of it was on the market, pending and sold. And normally that's normal because what would happen is you have to go through that whole buying process. It would take about 29 days from the time that the loan was processed and everything. But still, that's really good because it used to be 45 days. The prices aren't causing the houses to sell, but the prices aren't causing the houses to sell much slower, though. Right now, homes are spending an average 29 days on the market, only 1 day longer than last year's average. And that could be just from lending, one more day extra. That could just be from lending on there. So that's not that big of a deal. That's not that big of a deal. All right, I can get another question. That was a good one. I love Nashville. It's so pretty. And Nashville is still part of that Sun Belt that corporate investors want to buy into. So, could the government put a cap on how much real estate corporations could buy? The they could, but would they ever? No, absolutely not. No. No. See, here's the thing is that without getting too political, it doesn't even matter which side of the aisle you are on. These super PACs are paid for and bought for by corporations. These political campaigns are paid for and bought for by corporate donations. So it doesn't behoove the government to work in the favor of the people. It behooves them to work in the favor of the people that are paying for them to be elected in the first place. So they might do a lot of lip service. They might talk a big game of all these things they're going to do to change our lives for the better until they get elected and they go, well, it was a lot harder. We really did try. Or they make some ridiculous bill and they're like, look, I made an effort and they shot it down. Look, they shot it down. They do it every single time. It's just I get very frustrated. I get very frustrated. And I'm sure you guys do too. I mean, every single day I turn on the news, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm just so sick of living in unprecedented times. I'm so tired of it. Um, and I wish they would do something because the amount of homes that they're buying in certain areas is overwhelming. And even local governments could do something about it. But these corporations are so slick. They know that, like, well, what we'll do is if they say that they can only buy 10 houses under one LLC, they'll just make 5 more LLCs. They know what they're doing. They they have no qualms. There's no love lost for anything that they do. It's all greed. Question, did you decide on what you're adding in your backyard to use for an office? I did. Okay, so huh? Eddie said, "Don't answer." I have a big giant surprise for all of you, and I'm not gonna tell them. I'm not gonna tell them, Eddie.
Okay, you can't tell.
I'm not gonna tell them. But on Thursday, one of the companies that I mentioned in that video, the video I put on out on Tuesday, one of those companies is coming out here and setting up a demonstration house for us all to see. So we're gonna have them come in on Thursday. They're gonna put together one of the houses for us to see what it looks like. And that will be my ultimate decision on which one I pick. But I'm very excited because they saw that video, contacted me, and said, "Hey, I know that you're thinking about it. Let us show you in person." I'm like, "I can't get in my car and drive out there." And they were like, "Yeah, well, what if we come to you?" And I'm like, "Okay." So they're bringing a house here for us to see in a demonstration, and that video will come out the week following. So
How about how
that
about the chat puts in there who they think?
I can't hear you, Eddie. I'm sorry.
I know. Yeah, I know, but everybody else can, so that's perfect.
So you can talk total smack about me right now.
Hey,
Totally talk
guys. No, I'm just
total
kidding.
smack.
Why don't everybody put it in the chat who they think?
Oh, Eddie, I don't think everybody's seen that video. Not everybody on the live stream has seen that video, but it was a video on a Home Depot tiny homes. If you
What
hadn't
are they
seen it,
doing? They
go ahead and check
should.
that out. I was comparing Home Depot video tiny homes in comparison to some other companies I had heard about and found out about. So, because I'm going to be putting in a tiny home in my backyard. Very exciting, very exciting. I have some news about this one too, Debbie. Um, I said it in my video too, but Boxable has invited me to come back out. I'm just waiting for them to give me the dates, and I will be going back out to their factory and asking all the questions that everybody's been asking me in my comment section for those videos, because I think they have a really neat product. I have some questions, like, are they going to be able to keep that $50,000 price range? And when people have been waiting on that wait list, how long are they going to have to wait? Because if I was to get on that wait list now, they're only doing 2 houses a day. I wouldn't get a Boxable for what? I don't know, 10 years? I don't know. If they're only doing 2 a day, that's a long time. Yeah. Oh, here, I'm gonna pull this one up really quick. Congress is having hearings about corporations buying up housing. It's affecting the healthcare stores and having enough workers, et cetera. When it affects the votes, they'll do something. But this is what I think that Congress will end up doing about it. They'll give somebody like instead of saying the corporations can't buy the houses, they'll give them like a reduction in their rent to rent the house from the corporation. They'll be like, "Oh, you're a firefighter? Well, we'll give you a $500 credit towards your rent because you're a firefighter or a police officer." I don't think they're going to stop them from doing it. That's what I think. I could be completely wrong about that. Peter says, question, are prices going up, or is this currently a devaluation? Right at this moment, according to the National Association of Realtors and every real estate agent I have spoken to, home prices are still going up. There is still bidding wars going everywhere. But this is where the crack comes in. The amount of bids that they're getting for those homes has been reduced. So normally, like last year at this time, they were getting 15, 20, 25 bids. Now they're getting maybe 10, maybe 3, bids and competition. That's in some markets. Other markets, they're just as hot as they've always been, and I've heard in the California market, in some areas in California, they're just not they're even having to reduce some areas, some prices in some areas. I've heard it in the Northeast, like near, Northern Massachusetts, they've had to do some price reductions, but those are more in, like, for instance, in Massachusetts, those are more rural areas that didn't see quite as much of an uptick in price in the first place. They weren't having as many bidding wars. So the fact that they would be sitting on the market a little bit longer isn't that unusual. So instead of being on the market for, 45 days, they're on the market for, 60 days. That's normal. That's a normal market. All of these huge corporations are buying up from the mobile home parks in Florida and tripling the rent from 400 a month to 800 a month. I just talked about this, Stephanie. Was that 2 yeah, 2 videos ago, and I had seen it on I have been talking about this for years, and it's horrible. There is a company, and like, talk about evil. It's called Mobile Home University, and this guy is such a scumbag. He said the people that live in manufactured home parks are like people going to Waffle House and they're chained to the booths. They have no choice but to eat, but they can't leave. He's disgusting. And he knows, and he teaches people to go in there, assess exactly how much the manufactured homes are worth. He tells them exactly how much you can jack up the rent. He's encouraging them to get out the people that already live there, and so that way, basically they got a free house that they can start renting out. And they don't improve the roads, they don't improve the lighting. But if you happen to live in a manufactured home park that is owned by just a regular mom and pop owner, go to them as a community, and you can do something called a co-op, just like you would look at like a condo association, and you can, as a cooperative, purchase the manufactured home park together, all of you together. So everybody has a stake into the property. And then those things, it's called Rock USA, ROC, Rock USA. Go to their website and you can go as a community to get a loan to purchase the whole entire community together. That way you can level off your rent payments for the lots themselves. You can, in that way, you can assess the taxes for yourselves, and you can have a lot of the things fixed in your area that haven't been fixed, whether it be lights, roads, whatever. And that way you guys can live in that community, be a part of that community, and everybody has a stake in it. And you can watch how those communities have done this, have improved exponentially. So look into that if that's what something that's happening to you in your area and you're concerned about your park and it happens to be owned by a little mom and pop uh, little dealership, not dealership, mom and pop owner, and see if you can go to them and do that instead of having some corporation buy you out. It's terrible. It's so gross. It's so gross because most of those people are on fixed incomes or work 2 jobs just to be able to afford it. And then they do this to them. Disgusting. And especially in Florida, because like you think about it, those are retired people. Those people are on fixed incomes. Totally disgusting. Judy says, question, do you think the interest rates will go up to 8%? It's possible. At this point, I don't put anything off the table. I mean, like I didn't think it could go any higher than 5%. I mean, like I was leaning towards 5%, and now here we are. We're not even in the back end of the year, and we're already at 5%. Mm-mm. DCG says, "Is this Eddie's tiny home?" Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. This I don't I'm gonna show you guys. We're getting towards the end of the stream. I'm gonna show you a little behind the scenes here. I'm gonna switch cameras because I want you guys to see how incredibly small this office is. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna show them my mess. Okay, here is where the stream is itself. You guys are seeing all of this, right? And then this is me. Hello. And then this is it. This is it. I'm just in a closet. That's all the space I have. There is no room for anything. Like, this is it. I mean, look how bad this is. This is exactly where the cats are doing their business. I get to watch that while I'm doing live streams. Kristina says no more. Kristina says no more. That yeah, don't forget to hit the like button for that. So you're in a closet. I'm in the closet. I am in the closet, or AKA the cat's bathroom. And that is why I want this tiny home in my backyard for myself. Originally, when I wanted a tiny home, was for my kid to have a space of her own while she was in college. Well, guess what? Between the dogs, the cats, the doorbell ringing, the Amazon truck coming, the lawnmowers running, all of this stuff literally drives me batty. I need a space where I can go, goodbye, everybody, give him a kiss on the cheek, and walk out to my office. And that's where I'm going to be working. So hopefully I can get a lot more content out to the world. I hear Eddie laughing in the background. Questions. What are the regulations around tiny homes in backyards? Okay, so every single area is going to have something different. They have loosened the laws for what they call ADUs, accessory dwelling units, in a lot of states, in a lot of areas like Maine, New Hampshire, even in my area, they've gotten a lot more lax. So, sometimes it's what you call it. So in some cases, if you're doing something like a granny flat that doesn't have a kitchen in it, but it does have a bathroom, they'll tax it as a shed. The property tax will tax it as a shed, and the HOA will consider it a shed, even though there's somebody living in it. In some other cases, if you have the bathroom and the kitchen in there, you're just going to have to follow your local regulations. There's going to be something different for every single area. So you're just going to have to follow those to the T. But they've gotten a lot more lax about it, especially with home prices. In the last 2 years, there's been more and more states, more and more areas that have gotten to be a lot more welcoming to the idea of a tiny home or a small home or ADU in the backyard. And they're great investment properties too for yourself. If you are able to do it in your area and have a rental unit, I mean, that is income that's coming into your house, regular income that's coming into your house, and you're helping somebody that needs to find a house. For instance, there's lots of people in California that rent out garages. They're school teachers and they want to work in this one area because it pays a lot more, but it's not enough to cover the cost of living there. So they'll rent out somebody's garage that's been turned into like a tiny home, which it has a bathroom and a kitchen and everything. And they'll rent that for like the first 5 days, and then they go home for the weekend. So if you have the ability to do something like that, I would say go for it. Do it. Do it. So we're wrapping up right here at the top of the hour. If you have your questions, get them in really quick, and we'll do a rapid fire question. What is going rate for boxable? Still at this point, they still say they're $49,999. They're $50,000, but they're still saying they're $50,000. I want to ask them. I don't even know how they can do it at 50,000, but maybe that's the inside scoop I want to know. Well, how can they do it for that? All right, another question. Would adding a tiny home increase property taxes to existing home with plenty of acreage to build? Yes, it would. That's going, if it is a living dwelling, it is going to add some monies to your tax dollars. And you probably have a cap in your area on how much tax can go up each year. But just do know that it will increase. Even if it was just a workshop, it does increase your taxes. All right, next question. How do you find a reputable prefab modular home builders? Is there a website that you recommend? I can tell you that every single state has different laws when it comes to manufactured prefab and modular homes. You're going to have to look up the rules. You're going to have to look up those companies in your area, because if I said XYZ manufactured home company or a modular home company, and then in your state, they may have terrible reviews, because it has a lot to do with the people who actually install those. Doesn't may not have to do with the fact of the actual building themselves. So you could have a fantastic home, but the people that put it together did a crappy job. So then you're like, I'll never use XYZ home company ever again. They're terrible, but they were only terrible because those people put it together like crap. So if that's, one more, here we go. Are you having a backyard workroom come out from Texas?
We'll never know. Sorry, guys. You'll never know.
Eddie cut me off, man. Oh, look, he even put himself on the left-hand side, man. Wow. Do we have any more questions we want to shoot up for rapid fire? All right, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'm sorry we weren't able to have any guests this week, but I know we're going to have a very good guest next week, and it is an agent from Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to ask her about corporate buyers in her area, how many corporations she's seeing buying houses. It's something she's super passionate about and really wants to talk about as well. So we're going to have her on next week, and it's a big surprise. So you may want to come out here. And then on Tuesday, I have the video coming out about the Great Reset and how it relates to housing and my inside take with a little bit of tinfoil hat on. With a little tinfoil hat on. So everybody, I would like to say a very special thank you to our moderators that have taken the time to moderate, make sure to keep that chat clean. That's always a great thing for all of us. And I also want to thank everybody that has super chatted today. All of those donations help the streams keep going every single week. So I appreciate everybody. Everybody, all right, we'll see you next week. Have a super mega awesome week. Make sure it's really good. If there's anything good going on, let me know. And Eddie says if you need to know anything and get a real estate agent in your area, you can always visit my website at KristinaSmallhorn.com. Make sure you click the book here now, and you can fill out the form for a referral and for a real estate agent in your area. And I personally will call you if you actually fill out the part where it says the phone number. I can't call you if you don't fill out the phone number part. So I will call you and find you a real estate agent. All right, everybody. So long, farewell, Havitas, and goodbye. And you can end this at any time. Eddie's gonna end it, or he's gonna just have me just keep singing, looking like a fool.